Say he said something like, you want to watch a Dateline or something else, go watch that. I'm not here to get you. I'm here to, I've earned the respect of people, and then they get to come on and say what's on their mind. My job's not to debate the facts. They give their information out, and you all take it and digest it and figure it out, which is genius.
I love that. Every host needs to listen to that advice, man, because there's some hosts that really talk over their guests, and it's why are you even interviewing them?
Correct. That was great. It was.
Wherever you guys are watching this show, I would truly appreciate it if you follow or subscribe. It helps a lot with the algorithm. It helps us get bigger and better guests, and it helps us grow the team. Truly means a lot. Thank you guys for supporting, and here's the episode. All right, Shawn Meaike, part 2. Welcome back, man.
Thanks for having me, dude.
Absolutely. You were just at the game, right?
I was just at the Super Bowl, yes, sir.
Was it one of the better ones you've seen?
I've been to a lot of them. And it's funny, not being a Chiefs fan. First of all, I'm not a fan. That's something I've learned in life too. Like I like watching sporting events, but watching people get that excited about a team and the way they go about it's very interesting to me. The psychology behind it's interesting to me. But I bet a lot in the Chiefs, like probably way too much, but it was okay. They covered, and actually San Fran was giving me a point and a half. So it was a great game. Great. It's very competitive. I like defense too. The first half when people were freaking out, I'm like, dude, that's good. That was a good game. That was a good half.
Yeah.
So it's good football, but I ain't betting against Mahomes or Andy Reid and against Travis Kelce. So
interesting. So you look at sports objectively. You don't got like a team or a player.
To be honest with you, I think that's really uncomfortable to me. Like I played baseball and football and basketball growing up. Went to college, played baseball. And I just think like I've never been that excited about something I'm not involved in. You know what I mean? Like, and I think that, like I said to my son, you can't wear another man's name in the back of your in a jersey once you become over about age 18. Doesn't mean you still won't or not or whatever, but like cheer for you and cheer for yourself. So I love the game, but no, I'm not. But football's amazing, dude. Yeah. Because you realize that people. I was talking to a guy the other day, and he's like, dude, people love a team over the players. And he's in the NFL. And I was like, for real? He's like, yeah, dude, they're just so rabid about the individual teams. So, yeah, man, I can take him or leave him. I follow the Broncos. I grew up watching John Elway. He's a good player. I like individual players and things they can do. Right. But the team itself, dude, I'd gamble on 2 hermit crabs racing. So I'm a gambling freak. So I like gambling.
You can learn a lot from athletes, man. I saw you just had Shannon Sharpe on your show. Yeah. What were some things you took away from that interview?
Man, a lot. First of all, he's super sharp, which I love, and he's got a huge personality. Probably one of the bigger things, he actually said it before we got on, and he was talking about perspective. And he was talking about growing up. He was talking about being in, I think it was he'd just gotten drafted, and they had a tragedy in their family. Oh. And his grandma was like, don't tell him till after practice. And just how hardcore he was about his mission. If you learn, like, he played Division II football, and if you, like, football's not like baseball, even basketball. I mean, a lot of those, you play Division I football, but I don't know the stats on it. I go through the NFL. It's probably not a lot of guys, but I'm like, when did you know you'd be in the NFL? The entire time. I was just laser focused. I didn't know that they called him Pee Wee when he was young, which is amazing. I think he was ever small. And I think also just that he's taken that mindset, that championship mindset that he has, and he has no fear. Yeah. And he's approached his post-football career like he did that. I mean,
he's got the number 1 show in the world right now, and that was all in the matter of a year, under a year.
And I asked him, I said, how did you get, like why you? Like, why did Cat Williams pick you? Because that was interesting to me. Yeah. And why did he come on and tell you all that? And he said, well, I offer a safe space. I get on and tend not to talk over people, and I roll. And then people might come at me. What did he say? He said something like, you want to watch a Dateline or something else, go watch that. I'm not here to get you. I'm here to, I've earned the respect of people, and then they get to come on and say what's on their mind. My job's not to debate the facts. They give their information out, and you all take it and digest it and figure it out, which is genius.
I love that. Every host needs to listen to that advice, man, because there's some hosts that really talk over their guests, and it's why are you even interviewing them?
Correct. That was great, dude. Learned a lot, man. It was a good time to be around him.
Yeah, I think when he left Skip, that was such a pivotal moment, and you see the trajectory because Skip's going downhill, he's going uphill, and you're like, wow, he was really running that show.
Yeah, and dude, I mean, when you look at, because that's what I asked about Stephen A., and he's like, dude, he wants me to get big. Like, he wants a big personality. He wants somebody to be next to him, and he doesn't want to try to control him. And, because I asked him that about former athletes. That was always weird to me. Like, how do former athletes listen to people that never played? because I don't understand that. But I'm also like, I'm not on these big shows. I didn't play in the NFL. But if you like, did you play sports growing up?
Yeah, basketball.
Basketball. Well, that would make sense, right? Did you play baseball?
No.
Okay, so if
All right, guys, shout out to today's sponsor, Babbel. 1 in 5 Americans have learn a new language on their bucket list. If that's you, make 2024 the year you finally check it off the list. Don't pay hundreds of dollars for private tutors anymore or waste hours on other apps that don't really help you speak the language. Babbel has quick 10-minute lessons that are handcrafted by over 200 language experts to help you start speaking a new language in as little as 3 weeks. It's designed by real people for real conversations. Babbel has really helped me lock in Spanish. My fiance's family is all Latina, and now I'm able to communicate with her family members, and it's awesome. Studies from Yale, Michigan State University, and others continue to prove that Babbel is better. One study found that using Babbel for 15 hours is equivalent to a full semester at college. They have over 16 million subscriptions sold, plus all of their 14 award-winning language courses are backed by their 20-day money-back guarantee. Here's a special limited time deal for our listeners. Right now, get up to 60% off your Babbel subscription, but only for our listeners at babbel.com/social hour. That's babbel.com/social hour, spelled BABBEL.com/social hour. Rules and restrictions may apply.
If you were giving somebody advice on baseball, I'd be like, I'm just like, bro, slow your roll. You don't know what you're doing.
Right.
And I'm okay with that. Like, let's be honest. Like, I was asking before the thing, do I look better with this? He's like, no, put a sweatshirt on, you look better. Like, dude, I ain't got, like, it is what it is, right? But he said, when Stephen A's talking, he talks through a different lens than me. He's like, I'm looking at the X and O's. He gives you a bunch of coverages and all kinds of stuff. And he's like, but he's not looking at it from that perspective. And he said, plus Stephen wants me to grow. He wants me to scale. Now, he didn't say nothing about Skip, but it's also like, you've heard Skip rant and yell.
Yeah.
And it's like, dude, like, who are you, bro? Like, really, I just, but you know, so it's been great for him. Yeah, I mean, the what he's doing, what he's continuing to do is just massive. I just saw him the other day. And he's just a good guy.
Yeah.
Like, he's a good dude to be around.
I agree, man. It's a respect thing, right? Because Skip didn't play professional sports at a high level, right? But Shannon did, so people will gravitate towards that.
Yeah, dude, and I mean, listen, I don't put on those shows, but Skip's annoying. You know what I mean? And then, like, you do need that guy to, like, I just think, like, how smart it was for Shannon to pick Ocho to do what they're doing. Nightcap.
Brilliant.
Like, that was brilliant. Like, he's got a great personality. You never know what he's going to say. He had his success, but kind of what he was saying doesn't, like, take himself that unbelievably seriously. It just works out really well. Right. So I think he's on to big things, and dude, he's razor sharp, and he's focused on it just like he was at the NFL. So everything he does will continue to expand. I won't be shocked at whatever numbers y'all pull up. I'd be like, that doesn't surprise me at all. So
he's killing it.
But yeah, and they're doing a great job in First Take too. And he's actually made me like Stephen A.
Yeah.
Weirdly enough, like, because I mean, and I don't dislike him. I don't get that excited about it. But I'm like, when he said that about the lens, I was like, dude, that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like, I don't tend to get that upset when people are talking. This guy announces, I don't like when he does this. And some people like Tony Romo. He was doing the game last night. I'm like, dude, I like Tony Romo. I kind of like the way he talks. I like the way he analyzes the game. He's smart. I like his inflections in his voice, all that. So, but yeah, it's, I think he's on, yeah, it definitely was a big deal for him. And I don't think he knew that Stephen A. thing was happening. And he went from there to, I guess it's one of those opportunities. You never know what's around the corner.
I've actually grown to like Stephen A. too. I think mainly because his own show. I think when you're on your own show, you're really yourself. Like you see with Tucker, he's amazing now. I feel like Fox News was holding him back.
Dude, he's a monster.
I mean, he just did Putin.
Dude, he's a monster.
Yeah, did you see that one?
Yeah, I watched it.
It was nuts.
And you almost like, dude, like you were thinking about this the entire time he just came out, and like, who else can do that? Who else is doing that in the world right now?
No one.
No one. Who has the courage to do it, has the ability to make those connections, and actually can stand there. And when he was talking to me, like, dude, he's such a strong, intelligent, tactful person. You just watch Putin, you're like, you can just see the mutual respect for it. This isn't going to be a game today.
Right.
So yeah, no, I agree with you, dude. It's been awesome. Times
are changing because you rarely see the opponent's point of view. And now we're getting that perspective with podcasting, with new media. It's really interesting, actually.
That's what it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
But that's also like, how old are you?
26.
I'm 51. I was raised that way. It was okay to have an opinion. They didn't vilify us for having an opinion. We had debate classes. We were encouraged to talk about those things in class.
Really?
And absolutely. It was like, what party are you? And you were usually what your mom or dad were. I'm this. What about you? Y'all debated out.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely.
That
Next week you'd come out of political science classes, civics classes, and high school, let alone college. We did that.
Wow.
And we didn't hate each other. You had an opinion, I had an opinion.
Yeah.
It was totally fine to not agree. I had to listen to you. You had to listen to me. You had to say things that might really piss me off. We also had really thick skin. And we're taught not to have a panic attack and scream and yell when you don't like what somebody's saying. But where does that get us? So, I mean, for me, I always say it with people. I was on a pod not too long ago, and he's in his mid-20s too. And I'm like, but, I was talking about sports. And he's like, oh, I didn't know that. I'm like, yeah, that's how we were raised. So it is really cool to see.
Yeah. So having thick skin like that, is there anything someone could say that will get to you? Really?
There's things they could do, but not say. So there's nothing you can say about me because I don't give a what anybody says about me.
Really?
No.
Even if it's someone you respect?
They don't respect me if they're talking about me. So why should I respect them? So I respect you. Let's say I respect you. I do respect you. We don't know each other that well. I respect you. You turn around and start popping off in the mouth and being I'm like, okay, well, why am I worried? He doesn't respect me. What am I worried about? And then why would I let you get me? And every time you get successful, people run their mouths about everything.
Right.
I mean, literally everything. So for me, it's kind of like there isn't anything you could say. And if you're going to do something, it has to be something pretty significant. You know what I mean?
Yeah, running my mouth. That was one of my worst habits. And you learn it in public education, right? How to gossip and talk about people. And it took me a while to get out of it. But it's such a bad habit, honestly.
There run a lot of companies. And one of the things I used to ask when they came in and applied, and I'd say on a scale of 1 to 10, and don't lie to me because time will end up telling, how much do you like drama, gossip, and bull? Seriously, but don't lie. You can't say a 1 because everybody's going to say a 1. Yeah. If I had people that would be like, no, I participate in it because I don't tolerate it. And it just eats you alive. And it's Lord of the Flies. Remember that book?
Yeah, they made us read that in school.
They made me read it too. I mean, that's the thing about how long that's been a thing, right? And I was with a group yesterday. I'm like, dude, read the Lord of the Flies. It's a quick read. And they hit me back and I'm like, this is what y'all are doing. You're Piggy, you're Jack, you're Ralph. Like, knock it off. Like, this is what we do to each other, though. Yeah. Because we start working together as a team. It's like in this business, you'll work with people and eventually you're like, dude, what is his problem? You could use Skip and Shannon. Like, why don't you want Shannon to be great? What are you worried about? Like, what's the concern for you? But it's that ego. Yeah. And again, if you got to feed your ego, and I always tell people, if you're going to say it, come and say it to my face.
You're direct, heads on.
Yeah, I'd rather just fight you in the parking lot. Because I'm not trying to be funny or be a tough guy or be weird, but like, dude, like, that's the other thing. I remember I was probably 14, and my father drank a lot. He's sober now. So I drove him a lot. Okay. And back then, you drive at 14, cop pulls you over. They didn't it was just a different time. Yeah. And I remember I'm driving. I remember this exit 28 Askin on Route 395 in Connecticut. And I go around a corner, and this guy's coming on the highway. And like, it's debatable who cuts whom off. So I get in, I pass him, and I start flipping him off. And my father said, pull over. And I was like, okay. He's like, no, pull the car. And the guy's, he's beeping, he's flipping me off. And he's got a beer between his legs, cooler in the car. He said, now get out and you man enough to flip him off. And I'm, 81 pounds, 14 years old, grown 225-pound man, got out. Yeah. And I got out. I'm not going to tell you I was excited to fight the guy. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I think he just realized my father just sat there. But it was lessons like that in life. And there I went through a lot of shit, don't get me wrong. But it was like, dude, you have every single thing you say you're accountable for. But then I'm also accountable for, do I have to react to everything you say? And I don't have to react to it. It took me some while, and I'm also 51 years old. Right. It took some time. At your age, I wanted to fight everybody the entire time. Plus, I was still drinking and getting high and everything else at your age. So, I'm sober. You learn. People bait you into saying yeah. And I've really respected myself. You talk about games. Like, I'll go to games, and you watch, I was at a Niners Chargers game last year, and this fight breaks out between like 10 dudes. They couldn't hurt each other if they were fighting for an hour. It was hard to watch. But I'm like, as long as they don't bump into me, and my buddy's like, what are you gonna do? I'm like, I ain't gonna do nothing unless they bump into us. And they bump into us, I don't want anybody else to get hurt. I'm also not gonna beat them up then. They're drunk, they can barely walk, I'm sober, they're 160 pounds. Like, what, and I think there's took me a long time to learn there is a lot of pride and respect in value in being able to go like, I don't care. Right. Just turn the other cheek, call it what you want, smile. Keep it moving. A lot of energy to take people on. Then they know they have you. Yeah. So I always teach people in sales, running a business. Emotion is the biggest thing a client will use against you. Yeah. But if I don't have any emotion, I don't get freaked out about what you ask me or what you say or what you're pushing on, then you trust me more because I control my emotions. I make my money, do better for my family. So why don't I learn how to just relax?
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, because in your 20s, you would have joined that fight, right?
100%. Yeah. Anybody said a damn word about me. But also, there weren't people saying a lot about me because I wasn't doing a lot. That's the other thing I realized. Like, dude, people are saying stuff about you, no matter what you're doing, run a business, successful team, because you're doing something. And I think as I started coaching too, I was coaching baseball, basketball, football, travel teams, traveled all over New England, all over the country. And I was like, I'm giving these kids advice that I ain't taking. Like, okay, we're in the basketball court. There's thousands of people hanging off the rafters. We're good. There's really good teams. That dude's going to North Carolina, Kentucky, boom. We're a lot of baseball players who are trying to stay in shape, but we're good. And I'm like, I'm telling them not to react. And then what I started doing was becoming more of an because I want everybody to be mad at me.
So you were the Draymond Green of the team.
Yeah, dude. Absolutely. And I would lose. I mean, it was obnoxious. If they were yelling at my kids, I'd just find somebody or the other coach. I'd be like, hey, after the game, what we should do is you and I should fight in the parking lot.
Wow.
Whoever wins, then you're like, well, but no more talk in here. We'll just go in the parking lot. You and I will fight it out. You know, and the good news about most people is they're all this anyway.
Yeah.
You know what
Especially
I mean?
basketball. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. So it's just, but I learned to take my own advice. I was good at giving advice I wasn't taking.
Wow. So what age were you when you were finally able to control those emotions, you say?
I got sober at 28. I had no control of them when I was drinking. I think it's hard to control your emotions, your anger, whatever issues you have, they're exacerbated with those things. Like if you're pretty chill and you got a pretty good personality and you're pretty even keeled and you get high, but like, dude, I like smoking weed. I smoke weed a lot, but I like more. I like smoking crack more than I like.
Damn.
Oh yeah, I love smoking crack. Oh God bless America. But I mean, it was best 15, 20 minutes of your life followed by the worst 30.
Yeah.
I smoked it by accident to start.
Okay.
Yeah, a buddy of mine was like, you want to get high? I was late. We're at the gas station we worked at, went in the back, we used to take these cans, dent them in the middle, put a little carburetor in them and smoke out of that, like our own little makeshift bowl. And that's what I thought I was hitting. And I was like, dude, what does that taste? And he's like, oh, you'll love it. I'm like, dude, what kind of bud is that? And he's like, it's not, it's crack. And I was like, I'm already in. So I did. And then, dude, every day. And I was like, God, I don't know why people start fiending for this stuff and get addicted.
Wow.
Yeah. Mushroom. I love the party. But I've been sober now. So I think once I got that and I got through the sobriety thing, and then also realized that as a man, like, I don't know. I was raised that's everything's about, you know, physical and, you know, who you are. And it's how you were valued as a man. And you realize, like, dude, that's actually kind of bullshit. Like, anybody can fight anybody at any given time. I've met a lot of people I don't think are great, but they're good at fighting.
Right.
You know, so it took me a while, though, dude. And then when I had kids, then every decision I made was different because now it's not about my consequence. It's about my biggest consequences. I can be away from them. Whether I get arrested, go to jail, or do something bad enough where I just can't be around them.
Right.
And now it's like, now the decisions they're all very different when you start factoring that in. And it could be a business for people that are younger. It could be anything that they value in life. It can be taken from you real fast. Because common sense, it's funny, people are always so commonsensical. Like you can drive through the state of New York and you can have a gun and you can live in Connecticut and forget you have it. The gun laws are pretty mother freaking severe. And they can send you to jail for a long time.
Just for having a gun?
Having a gun.
Wow.
I mean, for literally having a gun. And I got arrested at the airport in Connecticut. I had a gun in a bag, just like that one I carried in here with me today. And like I wasn't trying to sneak it on the plane. I put it through the x-ray machine. Yeah. And in some states, they give you, hey, go put it in the car. And in some states, they're like, you're under arrest.
Damn.
And Connecticut's one of those states where you're under arrest. But I was like, I don't agree. Like, dude, I wouldn't try to do nothing. I would think I have a permit. Yeah. I'm legally, you know, the guy's like, is it loaded? I'm like, of course it's loaded. Who carries an unloaded gun? You know what I mean? Of course the thing's loaded. So I think for me, it really got me to start to understand that you never know. Like people do small things that we think common sense make no sense. And it's like, he's in jail. Yes. So I guess I just, you know, laws are laws and people end up in jail for a little. That's why I always respect people and don't think that there's you know, I love when somebody's judges somebody else. And it's like, dude, you did 3 nights ago could end you. It just didn't. Yeah. And you should respect that.
There's something on everyone, right? We all have done stuff.
Dude, I don't care who you are. You know, I always tell people, be careful of the people that if they tell you they've sociopathic people think they've done nothing wrong and they live this life, dude. All of us got
yeah.
We're all up.
Absolutely. Do you have all your employees take personality tests?
Yeah, man, I have a lot. It's funny you ask that because we've done all kinds of assessments before they start, just kind of figure out who they are. I do it with my sales team too. And they're not employees, they're independent contractors, but I want them to know. Like, you need to know these things about you. Then we do a lot of assessment, we do disc assessments, see who matches up with whom, because a lot of times you get people that are like, okay, these two won't do well together, but he'll do really well in general. We just can't put this one in charge of this one. And here's why. You know, he's a high he's a high D, he's a high C, all that kind of stuff. So I'm a big believer in all that because for me, it taught me a lot about myself. You start looking at these like, yep, that's true. That's true. I had a group one time, they were arguing about how they think they wanted me to change all stuff as a company early on in its infancy, which we've gone on to do, $800 million we did last year in our top 15 people, and they had everything figured out. So I'm like, I'm going to give you a personality test, an IQ test. So I brought 15 of them. I was like, okay, does anybody want to guess who's the dumbest? And I took it too.
Yeah.
I'm like, I took it too. And they're looking around like, seriously, I'm like, dude, I have all the results right here. We're going to share them all with each other.
Damn.
Absolutely. And they were just looking around like, and it was funny because the funny thing about the ones that scored the lowest, one of them was like, and this is how he was dumb and unaccountable. And he was like, well, it was the test. And it was like, no, it's God didn't. It's kind of like, how tall are you?
6'5".
6'5". And I'm 6 foot on a good day. That'd be like me going, I'm taller than you. You're like, no, you're not. God made me, I'm 6'5". Like whatever you believe in science, God, you're 6'5" and I'm 6 foot.
Yeah.
And then the other guy who did much better was like, yeah, dude, I don't like tests. I don't give like, but he did really well. And I was like, do you see how he does well and you don't? And you have the exact same IQ actually. But like how unaccountable you are and how and people like him because you don't have to be the smartest guy if people don't want to work with you.
Right.
And then I found someone that was like, who's the smartest? I'm like, nope. And they're like, this guy actually is. Like, oh, we didn't know that. I'm like, he's not near as smart. And we just went through all, not to belittle anybody, to be honest. Like, let's know what we're all dealing with. Because if we don't know our own inadequacies, how do we get ahead?
That is so cool. But how much importance do you actually place on the IQ?
I place importance on your understanding your IQ. I don't care if you have the highest IQ because there are people that do this that I don't think that I'm going to walk in a room and have the highest IQ. I'm not dumb, and I don't apologize for being smart. I just don't. There's a lot of things I suck at, a lot, and I know those things. And there's things I find every day. I'm like, oh, I suck at that too. Like I didn't even realize. And then being transparent and vulnerable. What I place priority on or importance on is vulnerability and transparency. Don't try to be something you're not because people know it anyway. Some of the highest income performers I know and some of the people that have the highest net worth are not the smartest people I know. They know who they are. They're great at delegating. I was on a plane the other day. I'm a pilot, right? And I've always said, who needs science and math? And I'm like, dude, why can't we land? And he's like, wind shear. And he starts showing me this formula on a piece, like they're scratching on a piece of paper. And I'm like, what happens if it goes here instead of here? And he's like, plane crash.
Wow.
And I'm like, God, when they say you don't need math and science, some people, and he just laugh. Like, I don't need math and science because I have people around me that know math and science. I don't love it. I love math more than I love science, but I'm not going to engage in it. I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about science. But I think that, but also like some of the pilots I know have terrible social skills and they don't know it. And it's like, dude, stop talking that way. You look dumb. Like you're super smart. But then just be who you are over here. So I place it on, I like people that have the ability to communicate. I like communicative people. I like people that are humble. I like people that are good to be around. That's probably my biggest thing. Do I like these people? Like, do I want to be around them?
I love that.
Because as long as we're all going to have strengths and weaknesses. And also, I'm in charge of most of the stuff I do, but I have no problem deferring to other people. Hey, do you think this makes sense? Hey, should we do it this way? Should we do it like, what do you think? Do you think we should do it this way? I don't know. And that screws people up when you go, hey, what do you think? That messes people up, especially somebody who's only been there for a period and they don't know yet. And you're like, I see something in them, like, hey, what do you think?
Because they're scared.
Yeah. And I'm like, don't worry about these people. They're ain't smart. What do you think?
Yeah.
I didn't ask you how long you've been here. I run the company. I know how long you've been here. What do you think about what we're talking about?
Right.
Teaches this group a lesson, him or her a lesson, involves more people. It's life-changing stuff.
I like that. Did you see how Bezos runs his meetings?
No, I have not.
So it goes for, say they're at a round table, it'll go from the lowest tier employee, starts first, and then works his way all the way up to Jeff. You
know what's funny is life insurance company I run, about the first year and a half, I'm like, God, these meetings are so unproductive. And I was talking to a buddy of mine, and he said, how valued do you think that they feel in those staff meetings? Like, what do you think? And I knew I was in trouble when I said I didn't know. And he said, go into the next meeting. He said, ask everybody to write on a piece of paper the 3 things they like the most about the way you run the meetings. And then 3 things they like the least. And be open. Like they need to be able to share and they don't have to put their name on it. I was saying, then what do I do with it? He goes, then don't do it in front of them, but take in every one of them for the things they like the least about him was how much I spoke and how uninvolved they were.
Wow.
Yeah. So I transitioned, and we were doing, at the time, $25 million a year, and we just did $800 million this past year.
Damn.
And I went from like, okay, and I just transitioned. You can't stop overnight. You can't be like, hey, you run it. But 6 months later, I would come in the meeting once a month to listen. I went in the other 3. Like dude, they know what I know already. I came in monthly to get an update from them and give them anything quick they didn't know because I got it from somebody. And they just grew like this. I just hold them down. I come in and talk at them for an hour.
Wow.
And then that's how we kind of learn. Because when you start launching a company, you don't know what you don't know. Like I was a CEO, CFO, CTO, COO, and you're like, you don't have the money early on. Then you really don't know where to invest or what to do. Do you partner? Do you get acquired? Do you take on money? How do you do this? How do you build the infrastructure? So I learned the art of delegation, man.
Yeah.
And but I love that with Bayless. I had not heard that.
Super cool. A lot of meetings, man, are useless. So what's your advice to those looking to run successful, effective meetings?
I mean, getting good people around you, and also I'm always nervous when people won't provide their input too. It's either early on I didn't provide a good environment. They were nervous too. I used to say, this how idiotic I was. I used to say the new idea department is closed. No new ideas. Well, if you're running for your life and like the boat's sinking and you're the only one who knows how to fix it, then that's probably not bad advice. Like we don't have time. But in the day-to-day life, dude, I know that my successful meetings are led by other people. Doesn't mean I'm not leading them as well, but it's successful meetings are where everybody's input's valued, but also in a place where if you are not productive, your input's not held equally. So like, the problem with a lot of companies is this guy's input's held, but he ain't doing nothing. He's down here. So I'm always like, hey, I'm okay with your input, Shawn, but Tom and Mike's and Chris's, we like your input. And we're open, dude. What I'd love for you to do is have their productivity so we can, actually I think you have really good ideas, except you're half as productive as them. So it might mean you work 75% less than them because you seem to have better ideas than they do. But why aren't you as productive as they are? So like, let's let your voice be equal to your productivity. And I love meetings like that. I want it to be fair. It doesn't matter how long you've been with the company. I hate seniority.
Really?
Hate it.
How come?
Hate it. The companies I've worked, first of all, I hated it when I worked at United Parcel Service when I was 19 years old because I was like, why can't I have that route? I deliver more packages per hour than anybody, according to you, my boss. Like you guys run the numbers. If the analytics say that, why can't I get a better route? I'm more productive.
Right.
Seniority. That's okay. So I learned at an early age, I'm like, I don't like that. It doesn't make any sense. I took state jobs. Why can't I be promoted? Seniority. So I hated it then. In business, what makes me nervous about this, like in my industry, and a lot of them, I've built a waste management company, exited that, real estate company, life insurance company. And one of the reasons we've scaled so fast is a lot of the companies I watched got suffocated at the top, right? Because you had X amount of people been there so long. They believe they were entitled to everything under the sun. Their opinions, their only ones matter. And they didn't grow with the times. They never changed. You got to be innovative if you're going to sit in a constant state of mediocrity or you're just going to refuse to grow. For me, I really, really, as I'm looking at how we scale it and I'm looking at seniority, dude, I got some really good new people. There's some really good ideas.
Right.
And I need them to know if you do as much as him, he's been here 10 years. I do love him. If you do as much as he does your first year, in my mind, you're equal as far as your contribution to the company.
Wow. So all the previous years don't matter for you.
I love you and I'm here for you. We're trying to scale a company.
Right.
I'm not going to hurt you. People ask me how long you've been here. It's 10 years. I appreciate you being here early on when it sucked. Totally get all that. But a lot of times the new guy is not accepted and not pushed because a lot of the meetings I went to, they'd bring the same 12 people up. It's like, dude, they've been here 25 years. Of course they have bigger businesses. They've been here 25 years.
Right.
But you have people over here and what happens? These people, they quit. They're like, I can never make it into the good old boys club. I can't get myself in there. I want to feel good. And also, what we should have been teaching those 25 people that have been here forever is you can't have a big business and a big ego. So when dude, we're going to have other people that need attention. That's why when you see companies, they kind of blow up. They go to an award ceremony, 3 new people get awards.
Yeah.
You look at these 3, you're like, dude, what happened? It's like, bro, you've been getting the credit for 9 years, bro. Grow up. Go home. Get a friend. Get a dog. Tell your wife to love you. Tell your husband you love him. Like, why do I got to be your validation for everything in life? And a lot of people, their company recognition, award system is all the validation they got. And that's scary. And that's why a lot of companies they starve because they run out of, I had a guy tell me a long time, I said, what happened to this company? This company's life insurance space imploded 3 decades ago. He said, we ran out of credit. So what do you mean? I said, money? He goes, no, credit. All the guys that were at the top wanted the credit for everything.
Wow.
There was no credit to give out. So the first person that's take no credit is you when you run it. So I tell people all the time, we're great because y'all are great. I want no credit. Do I think I'm good at my job? Yes, I do. But when I don't take any credit. Like, you're like, you guys are awesome. Yeah, we did 100 million. Well, look at him. Did you know him? Hey, he's been here 6 months. She's been here a year. They're awesome. I have great freaking people. Now I have 100% of the credit still to give away. I'm going to try to teach people in seniority that. And by the way, you've already been winning for 8, 9, 10 years with the company.
Yeah.
Let's just be happy and let these guys win. And by the way, if they win and we light more of a fire, you'll win even more. Why do we have to continue to bring you in and hang banners up and tell everybody how great you are?
Yep.
You know, and I think that's a struggle with a lot of these independent sales organizations, whether it's solar, pest control, they're everywhere. Insurance, real estate is, you can't crack your way in. Can you imagine how debilitating it'd be if I said, hey, join my company, and there was a level system, but no matter how long you worked, you can never do better than that guy. He's here 10 years before you. So his hierarchy is always bigger than yours no matter what.
Right.
Well, you're competitive. Competitive people want to be number one.
Yep.
But you can never be number one, Shawn, because Tom started 10 years before you. Guess what you're going to do? You're going to go start your own company or work in another company where you can be number one or number two or number three. You want a shot. Yeah. So I like fair. I like unbiased. I didn't like I was at the state that did the same. I didn't like it at all, man.
I like that because some people get comfortable, right? They have a few years of success and then they're not as motivated. Let's take
coaching basketball, right? I coached basketball for years. If you're a freshman and you're equal or even a little bit less talented than my senior, you're going to play. He's going to sit. Wow. Yeah, but he played for 3 years. I'm like, I got you for 4 more years, and you're of the same ability pretty much as him 4 years in. I do love you. Go, well, he's going to have a better idea. It's basketball in high school, dude. We ain't playing in front of 100,000 people. Yeah. Like what? He's got better experience. Hell, look at the upside I got with you. And I want the kids to know that. Hey, guess what? Maybe if he worked harder, he'd have been that much better than you. Then he would have played.
That's actually why I quit basketball.
Did you really?
I was better than kids older than me, but they had family connections. There was politics involved.
There you go. And how many times does that happen?
Probably a lot, honestly.
Way too much. I would tell people when I coach, I was like, let me be clear. My kid was good, but I'm like, I'll sit his. I don't give a.
Wow.
And I told him, if you have a problem, every year, I learned this. My son was probably 7. He played football for this guy, and I loved it. He brought everybody together, and he was like, here's the deal. I played in college here, my other coach over here, my other coach, we don't think we're the greatest coach in the history of the world, but we know this game. If any of you would like to volunteer to coach, I'll talk to you afterwards. If you played past high school and you have some experience with kids, we'll talk. But you speak now if I ever hold your peace. Once we're done with that, you ain't never going to talk about what I'm doing ever again. And if you do, in the stands, cause a problem for this team, become a cancer, you and your son are not welcome anymore.
Wow.
And he made him sign something. He's like, here, sign this. If you don't sign it, you can't play. I was like, dude, I like that. So every year I did that. Baseball, basketball, every single year. And then what happens is people are like, kind of like, you know, like the gossip? They're like, dude, I ain't going to gossip. I was coaching basketball one time, went in the stands, because I could hear the guy, and I was like, we talked 3 weeks ago, right? This is during the game. Like, we got timeout. Like, we talked 3 weeks ago, right? Yeah. Are you good or not? Are you going to shut the up or not?
This was a parent of the player on your team?
Yep. Are you going to shut the up or not? Because you're screaming about what they should be doing. You don't even know what you're talking about, dude. Like, look at you. You couldn't run up down the court twice without having a fucking heart attack. So why are you screaming at the kids? And then all of a sudden the other parents are like, yeah. I go, hey, wait a minute. Don't do that. You didn't say that when he was saying it. So everybody's going to grow up. I'm going to coach. Y'all want to coach next year? You can coach next year. Go for it. But right now, we're all going to like enjoy the game. We're going to have fun. I smile. I say his mean things to have. We're going to have fun, right? We're all friends. You're friends. And next time he's being tell him he's being peer pressure is a very powerful pressure. And that was it. I didn't have to do that very often. And it wasn't, but I didn't do that when I was a parent either, watching my kids play. Right. It's people always go like, I think the coach should do this. I'm like, it's easy sitting here.
Why are you so passionate about coaching? Because you did $800 million last year. You value your time a lot, and you spend a lot of it coaching.
I because growing up, that's what allowed me to get better. I was blessed enough to be good, and I had a lot of coaches that were very financially successful, and I used them like they used me, and I learned that at a very young age in life. Maybe that's nice or not. It's very manipulative. I was like, okay, you're very successful in real estate. I never had a house. Y'all have a couple cars. Your wife doesn't work. Y'all have nice. I want to know what you know. So I'd befriend him, and I'm like, I want to know what your dad knows. And I had no pretend about it. I was like, he's like, why? My dad's an idiot. I'm like, no, he's not. Your dad, first of all, you got dad at home and he's making a lot of money. But those guys did a lot for me. We weren't best friends afterwards. They bought me cleats and bags and paid for my trip. And I was cool with all that. And I knew it would come to an end. I wasn't like, oh my God, he's my best friend. He's a mentor to me forever. So if I hadn't had athletics growing up, and then in business, I had good coaches too. Now I got myself around them, and I think it's my job to pay it forward. And when I see people, you know, like when I saw what you were doing and the time you put into it and how bold you are and you're smart, I was like, and then you're appreciative. I like appreciative people. The first thing you said to me, thanks for getting on before. I've gotten a lot better. I'm like, me too. Like, I like that, dude. That's like, those are people I want to be around. Real people. They're just transparent, vulnerable, honest, and are trying to do something different than everybody else. So coaching's a massive passion of mine.
Yeah, the energy's contagious, right?
I love it, dude.
Yeah, that's super cool, man. So 800 last year. You going for the B this year?
Yeah, we're going to do $1 billion. Easy.
Wow.
Actually, when we launched the company 10 years ago, I said we'd do $1 billion within 10, so we failed and didn't. But it's funny when we said we'd do $1 billion, like nobody does 200 million. How y'all going to do $1 billion? I had all these reasons why. But I believed it, man. Now we missed it, but it's not bad to shoot for $1 billion your first 10 and hit 800 million. But it's the lives that it changes for everybody else too. Because every time a client gets a policy, their life changes. Every time an agent sells a policy, their life changes.
Right.
Every time a policy is sold in that agency, the manager's life changes.
Yeah, it's like a spider web.
It's cool, dude.
You've probably helped hundreds of thousands of people at this
We have
point.
millions of policyholders.
Wow.
Millions.
That's incredible,
Middle
man.
American people who didn't have any or didn't have enough life insurance, and they and I'm, you know, I've been through so much and seen so many claims and so much that's going on in the business, but it's been life changing, dude. But definitely $1 billion. I wanted to do that. That was a goal. Not a lot of people can say they run a company that does $1 billion in sales annually.
Right.
So
especially in the insurance space. How many companies ever hit that point?
Not many, dude.
Did Patrick Bet-David hit it?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
You have to ask him, but I do not think so.
I know he sold his, but it was for what, 400 million?
He sold it for a lot. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
And I saw you post him a Next. Are you partnered with that now?
Yeah, that's been great, dude. He that's another person. He knows a lot, you know, about that space. And I was telling Andrew, my buddy, when it works for me, I was like, we got to go down there because I want to see what I can do to help him and I understand that's also why business works too. Everybody wants everything. It's like, well, what do you provide? Okay, will you jump on and support my app, Connect? Yes, absolutely. Will you talk about some of the stuff that you're doing that's allowed you to build this audience, that's allowed to do what you're doing on YouTube? Will you spend an hour with me talking about that, and I'll join the app? Like there's nothing wrong with that.
Bartering.
Yes. But everybody wants this, like, how do I get it? I don't know. What are you giving up? What do you got? Like, bring me something, dude. I'm in. What do you bring to the table? And I'll talk to you. So I'm part of it. It's been great. I was just on the way over here today. Guy asked me about launching an insurance business. He's like, I'm thinking about here's 4 different ways I would do it. I'm like, I wouldn't do this, but I would do it this way. You know, and so it's been cool to connect with people that have questions and want to do a video call or do an in-person meeting. And I do a lot of that coaching individually. I started doing a lot of that down at my place and at the house. I'm like, do is have them into the house and coach them up for a day and teach them how to actually speak,
Right.
how to deliver their message, not in 2 hours. Tell me who you are and what you do in 90 seconds. And then why should I work with you in 90 seconds? You know, so we're walking through that profitability business, building it, you know, what does EBITDA look like? What's your net? I've done it a bunch. I've done it in 3 different sectors, built them, exited them. Some have been much better than others, and they've been in excess of hundreds of millions of dollars. So it's been a great run, but yeah, Manek's been good. You can find me on there, and I answer questions for people in all kinds of industries. So it's been
nice. We'll link that below. He talks about, you know, choosing enemies wisely. That was his last book.
Yeah.
You got thousands of competitors. How much focus are you putting on competition?
You know what's funny? He and I are competitors.
Yeah.
You know, absolutely. And my buddy's like, "You think you're in that book?" And I was like, "I'm gonna read it." You know, we were just laughing. We competed for years, man. But competition isn't personal to me. Like I like that. I focus on what my competitors are doing good, and then I try to replicate that. And then I focus probably more of my energy on what they do poorly and ensure we never do it. So probably my best business lessons, honestly, in life have been people I worked with that did a lot of things wrong. And I'm like, dude, I'm just never going to do that. That's the thing about parenting or the way you grew up. I think if you grow up in like for me, you know, we grew up in like we didn't have any money, right? But I watched a lot of good and bad. And I really focused on like, okay, that guy does that as a parent. I would never do that. You know, like that's how you break these abuse cycles, right? You're like, because people that's learned behavior. I'm like, so you tell me when you get your ass kicked like a lot of us did, that you want to kick a kid's you didn't like it when it happened to you. Or if you watch your mom go through, you're telling me you really go like, because when I was a social worker for 14 years, when I worked in abuse and neglected children, they'd be like, what's my dad then? I'm like, dude, that's the dumbest statement I've ever heard in my life. You watch your dad kick your mom and you love your mom? Yeah. Okay. So you love your mom. You watch. I can see you being mad at yourself because I went through it as a kid.
Right.
I wanted to defend my mom when I was 3 or 4 or 5 and I couldn't.
Damn, that's young.
Yeah, I wanted to, but I couldn't.
Right.
You want to so bad. And you start to feel bad about yourself. There's things you want to do, stand up for her. I'm like, but you went and took, like, a woman can stab me, shoot me, beat me over the head. I ain't hitting her. I'll run. I ain't afraid. I'm running.
So if they hit you first, you won't hit back?
Hell no. Never. I'm a grown man. I could harm somebody.
Right.
Absolutely not. You hit me as many times as you want. I ain't going to stand there and let you keep hitting me. I'll cover up and get the hell out of there. I may never come, but I am not hitting you back. Well, she hit him first. She. The operative term is she. The pronoun is she.
But if a guy, it's different.
Hell yeah, I'll punch him in the mouth. Absolutely. That'd be a good day. That'd be a good Monday, bro.
Yeah, there's some trauma, man. My dad got physically abused his whole life, man.
Yeah.
He never laid a hand on me, so.
Yeah. See, but he broke the cycle.
He broke it.
That's the thing, dude. There's a lot of power in breaking the cycle. Because somebody in your family, whether it's financial, abusive, because I think that's the deal, man. When you see people, it's like, dude, what were you feeling and what are you doing and why would you replicate that? So a lot of the stuff I learned that's good, I want to replicate it. And the stuff that hurt, I don't ever want to do that. That's why I got sober. I'm like, I know what it was like to be a kid raised by people that were up. Drugs and alcohol. Why would I want to do that? Yeah, there's a bunch of people like, well, remember you did this? Dude, I was doing stupid since I was 13 when I started getting high. I've been arrested fucking 8 times for drinking and beat out of guys.
Damn.
Like, I get it. Dude, I didn't decide. I got sober because I didn't want my kids to go through what I went through.
Right.
That's all.
Powerful.
Yeah, I don't want them to go through it. Why would I want to? That's what kept me when you can't sleep at night or you want to smoke some rock. Like it was a better. Thank God that excitement of being a parent was better than that draw of smoking crack.
Don't smoke crack, guys.
Don't smoke crack. It'll be the best 25 minutes of your life followed by the worst 30, 35 minutes of your life. Don't do it.
Shawn, it's been a pleasure, man. Where can people find you and find out what you're up to?
Like I said, Minact, you'll put that link below. My Instagram. I got my own podcast, Close and Conquer, which I need to get you on if you would indulge me. Get on one day, it'd be great. And but everything through Instagram, hit me up there. I'll find you. But a lot of coaching down in Florida. If you like Southern Florida, come on down. I'm in Boca Raton, and I appreciate letting me get on, man. I mean it. You're gonna do some amazing things, dude.
Thanks, man. That means a lot coming from you.
I mean it. You really are. You got a really good presence, and I like being around you. You're super sharp, and I love what you're doing here. And I love how vulnerable and transparent you are, dude. So
absolutely. Thanks so much, man.
Appreciate you, brother. Thank you.
Thanks for watching, guys. As always, see you tomorrow.